Is it okay to fall asleep while you're praying? Have you ever wondered about that? Or does that seem like a silly question to you? Let me assure you that it is a very important question for some people. I've been asked my thoughts on this by more than one person. So I know some people out there are thinking about this, considering this idea of what if I fall asleep while I'm praying? As we start, let me be clear that I cannot turn to a Bible verse that directly addresses this question and gives us a clear, definitive answer. But we can turn to the Bible to get some guidance. So let's do that. Those that typically wonder about this question are those that look at the first four of the Ten Commandments. Have no other gods before me. Make no carved images. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. And set aside a day each week to remember God and what He's done for you. In other words, make sure we put God in His rightful place in our lives. And they also think about what Jesus said was the greatest commandment. He said the greatest commandment was, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. With all your emotion, all your spirit, and all your intellect. Love God above all else. So you see, this is not a trivial question for these people. They are concerned about going to sleep while praying, meaning that they're not honoring God. They're somehow disrespecting Him. You may scoff at their concern, but Jesus said this is the greatest commandment. That's not something to take lightly. So all credit to those people for wanting to make sure that is the way they are living their lives, by putting God first in all they do. Now, let's look at some other verses. Jesus says in Matthew 11, come to me and I'll give you rest. Paul tells the saints in Corinth in his second letter to them that God is a God of all comfort. And Peter tells his readers in 1 Peter chapter 5, cast your anxieties on God because He cares for you. This is but a small sample of the verses that tell us to find comfort in God. But I want to look at one more verse, Philippians 4, 6, and 7. It says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Pray. Put everything before God, and He can give you a peace that's beyond your understanding. It's not based on your knowledge, nor on your wisdom, or on your good deeds, or on your incredible intellect. It's a gift from God that's beyond our ability to even understand it. Based on those verses, I sometimes do fall asleep while I'm praying. I get a peace from God that I just can't get on my own, and I'm able to fall asleep. He gives me rest. So that's my answer to the question, is it okay to fall asleep while I'm praying? I am convinced that God is actually pleased that my final waking thoughts of the day are shared with Him. But you need to be convinced of your answer. It doesn't make it your answer just because it's my answer. You see, Paul tells the saints in Rome about things that they don't all agree on, that each one should be fully convinced in his own mind. We each need to know what our answer is and why, and be convinced of it in our own mind. Should we love God with all our heart, soul, and mind? Yes, Jesus makes that perfectly clear. Is it possible to love God in that way and fall asleep while you're praying to Him? It is for me, but you need to be convinced in your own mind. I don't intend to answer that for you in this short video, but hopefully I've shared a few Bible verses that you can use to make that decision for yourself. Most of all, spend time in prayer. Whether you fall asleep while praying or not, Don't deny yourself the privilege, the blessing of being able to pray to the Creator of all things. Don't deny yourself the opportunity to speak to the God of all comfort. At the end of the video, I'll put a link to a study on prayer that you may also find helpful. Thanks for listening. God bless you on your journey.